Well, I had a negative encounter with a police officer. Right?
Yo, pay attention.
And okay, yeah, I had a negative encounter with a police officer where, okay, I was driving and I mean, 9 times out of 10, everybody going at least 10 over the speed limit. So when he hit his lights, when he hit his lights, I didn't stop all the way. You understand? I didn't just stop right away. So when he got out the car and I stopped, he was just like, "Do you know what blue and red means?" You know what I'm saying? I was like, "Yeah." He said, "It means stop." You understand? I was like, "All right, okay." You understand? So from there, he was like, license and registration. And I had all that. I already had it ready, you know, because, of course, what you see what's going on out here, any sudden move we make, you know what I'm saying? They already think we reaching for a weapon or anything, so we can seriously get hurt. So, I mean, I already had my stuff already ready, you know what I'm saying, before I even stopped the car. So, I mean, that was a serious, a bad encounter with the police officer. Gave me a ticket. I think I had to pay maybe $200 something for a speeding ticket. So.
And were you speeding?
I was speeding.
So what part of the encounter was negative? Was it his approach?
His approach.
So you felt that his approach was rude, a little aggressive?
Little aggressive.
Okay. And then you received a ticket for speeding, right?
I received a ticket for speeding.
How did you feel during the stop?
I mean, I was good because I knew, I wasn't doing nothing else wrong. I mean, I was speeding and he was going to come in the opposite direction, so he hit a U-turn and then got behind me.
So, but when I say how you feel, were you any type of emotion? Were you upset? Were you scared? Were you nervous, anxious?
I mean, I was a little nervous because I was going through some, I was fighting a charge at the time, and I was wearing an ankle brace and all that, so I didn't know if I had any chance on being encountered with the police. So if I had any chance to be pulled over, if all that stuff could get pulled up, anything else, if I'm out on bond, I'm going to jail. But anything else, I was just speeding, so I knew I was good.
I got one. It was me and another brother, Officer Napatazai. He's not here. He the third highest ranking man after him. Right? We was going to find a building for our school, for the Israelite school. So we was on around 30th Street in Sherman, or something like 38th and Sherman. But we was going in lots because we was looking at buildings. So we going in lots, going to other lots, you know, making U-turns and stuff like that. So then the cops pulled us over because they like, well, y'all changed lanes without signaling, whatever. And the brother in the pot is like, he got a nice truck and everything like that. You know, we got our Hebrew Academy jackets on, we handle our business. So they pulled us over. It took them a long time. They was asking for the IDs, whatnot. Then they asked if they could search the vehicle. You know what I'm saying? So the brother was like, I think he said yeah or no. I don't remember. But then they had a dog come and sniff the vehicle and everything like that, trying to see if we had drugs and everything like that. But they seen our Hebrew Academy jackets, our Israelite jackets, and knew that we was part of the organization. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know, I'm peeping the scene. We're taught to just follow the orders of the cop. If we got to argue about something, we got to do it in court. That's what we taught in the Israelite school. Don't argue with a cop on the streets. You got to argue with the judge. So if he arrests you or you doing this and that, you got to argue with the judge. So we just let them do what they're going to do. They ain't going to find nothing because we don't sell drugs. You know what I mean? He tried to say I wasn't having my seatbelt on, but I had my seatbelt on, and I was holding it like this because I knew he'd probably say something. But, he, you know, I'm like, man, I had my seatbelt on the whole time. He's like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? So, you know, a Caucasian and everything. But he was real nervous. You know what I'm saying? He was real nervous, shaking a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You know, on edge, putting us on edge. But they had the dogs sniff the vehicle, and they had us sitting there for 30, 40 minutes. And if we would have sat there any longer, I know the brother wanted to go to the courthouse and press and file charges against the cops for doing all that with really no suspicion, you know what I'm saying? And we was out there for 30 minutes just waiting and everything like that. But we was able to keep it moving and finish our business. But that was just a nuisance, you know what I'm saying? But since we don't break no laws in UPK, we ain't got nothing to worry about.
Right.
We was smoking, you know, blunts and you know,
Right.
had little dimes and balls and all this and that in the vehicle. They searched the vehicle even though we ain't had it. So, let alone if we had it, we'd been plugged. So that's why it's good to not be into that drugs, because, you know, they always looking for a black dude, especially if you got a nice car. They be thinking, especially, you know, if you ain't in no suit or nothing, that's good tactic, you know, because they look good. You might be selling drugs. Come there, search your stuff, find your stuff, impound the car, that's money. Get you in the case, that's money. That's what they do all day. You know what I mean? So you get into drug dealing or something like that, you know, you ain't professional at running from the cops. They professional at catching you. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's what I do.
So, you guys got any questions? Anything that you want to ask? 'Cause we're gonna break down this is a perfect story with a lot of information. We're gonna have a lot of these officers. I'm gonna ask these officers questions about what they just heard and give you guys a little information about the police side, right? Because I want you guys to be aware, and this is something that, like I said earlier, fellas. This is something that I said earlier. I've had bad run-ins with police officers too, and I want to make sure that in my life, I was like, I want to make a difference, right? I want to make a change. The only way you can make a change in something if you're part of something that you're able to do. Does that make sense? So I saw the police officer who stopped me when I was younger. Were rude and disrespectful. So I made it my job to become a part of something that when I interact with individuals, I'm respectful, not because I don't want to have to deal with the same thing that I have to deal with growing up. All right. So you had a bad run with police officer. Tell me a little bit about that.
It was about a year ago. I had friends in the car, their family.
Before you continue, were you a police officer at the time?
I was.
Okay.
So we said to see the point. I was carrying. I'm driving the big SUV or whatever. There's a lady in front of me. State troopers come flying up, lights and sirens. You know, I get over. He goes past me. So I'm figuring, he's gonna pull the lady over in front of me. She's probably about 4 car lengths ahead. So he goes over, gets behind her, but he doesn't. Once she starts pulling over, he stays in the same line. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. What's going on? So eventually, I'm like, well, maybe he wants me to pull over. We're not talking to people over that way, but you know, it is what it is. So he ends up pulling us both over. He goes up to the lady, he's talking to her. See, he got a nice big smile on his face. Comes back to me. He looks into the vehicle. A bunch of African Americans and some Dominicans in the car. So he starts yelling, you know, what do you do when you see lights? I said, I know what you do when you see lights. You pull over. I said, but you never got behind me, you got behind her. So the way I was taught, you yield to let the officer make that decision. And once you did not fully pull her over, I figured you wanted to pull me over. Still didn't tell me I was a cop at this time, because me as a police officer, I like to see how other people react to me before I let them know that I'm a cop. And looking at me outside of this uniform, you would not think I'm a cop. You probably think I'm still in high school, college, or something like that. So, you know, he starts yelling at me a little bit more, says I was speeding, doing about 100 miles per hour. I said, okay, well, how fast do you think she was going? He said, oh, she was doing about 70. I said, well, she had 4 car lengths on me. How was I doing 100, but she was only doing 70? That doesn't make sense. So then he starts getting a little bit more agitated, asks for my license and registration. Told him it's not my car, but I did tell him I have my license on me. So what I like to do, I always open up my wallet. Usually I keep my badge right there so the officer can see. He keeps going, he keeps badgering me, but then he looks down and he sees the badge. Whole demeanor changes because he knows he's wrong. So he walks back up to there. I know I'm automatically I know I'm getting a ticket. It is what it is. I'm not gonna fight it, do it a later day. Like he said, like my man said, I don't know his name. Like my man said,
Captain Kaposh.
Captain Kaposh, okay. Like the sir said, arguing on the side of the road, that's not the place to do it. It's just not. One, it's dangerous for you. One, it's dangerous for the officer. At the end of the day, the judge is going to make that final decision. So, goes up to her. I see him. He talks to her. He lets go. No ticket, no nothing. Comes back to me. Tries to be a little bit more nicer. I look him straight in the face. I said, sir, I get what you're trying to do right now, but you know you're wrong. I said, I know that's a ticket in your hand, so maybe please go ahead and just give me my ticket. And, you know, I'll just be on my way. He hands me my ticket. He actually says sorry, and he goes off.
So let's go back to, we're going to touch on that. Thank you. Let's go back to, Captain, let's go back to your story. You guys were there for 30 minutes, right?
About 30 minutes.
A little bit, maybe a little bit more. So based off law, you're able to uphold someone on the traffic stop for about 45 minutes, right? All right. Do you feel that based off the reason, though, of your stop, it was too long?
Yeah, for not signaling, because every time you change lanes in a car, you're supposed to signal. And supposedly we didn't do it, but we was whipping in and out of lots and stuff, making U-turns in the lots and stuff. But I think getting the dog, they had got the dog to sniff the thing and everything like that. I think that was more like profiling, like all these black guys in a nice truck in the hood, you know, wearing black. They got some weight on them or something.
And so I want to touch on that. So who thinks police officers profile? Amari, you think so? You guys think so?
Oh, yeah.
Saunders thinks so. Well, we should all have our hands up, right? So I would tell you that without a doubt, police officers profile. There's no way around it, right? There's no absolutely way around not profiling someone. Well, we know individuals who are a drug house, right? We know a drug house. We know a few of them, right? I can tell you off the street and address, that's a drug house, based off just our information. We see a car leave from there. How many times have we followed that car 2 or 3 blocks to make a stop? Because we're expecting them to possibly have drugs on, right? I've done it. I've worked details where I've done narcotics. I've taken all types of narcotics training for detective school and things of that sort. Is someone in the building? There's no way someone wants to be in. How you doing, sir? So, all right. So, without a doubt, there's no way that a police officer can say that they're not profiling, right? We're taught to, based off our training, to profile when people reach for things, when people make sudden movements for the waistline. We're taught, based off training, what? That they possibly are reaching for a weapon or something of that sort, right? So with that being said, let me make this fast. So without a doubt, you're not wrong. You probably were profiled.
Right.
That's why they brought the K9 out. All right. So did you receive apology after your stop?
They didn't give us no ticket. I don't know if he apologized, but he just like talked and like made it cool. Like, it's okay, you guys can go and this and that. But he was real nervous though, you know what I mean? Because he seemed he was with an organization too. So he might have thought like maybe we might go and go after him and file some charges against him.
Okay. And then,
Go ahead. It might be good to get like a definition of, figure out what they understand profiling to mean. You know what I'm saying?
that's what I'm saying. So, somebody tell me what profiling is. Say it louder. How they look? React to certain things. Okay. Somebody? Huh?
I could try answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, I think profiling would be like, if you see a dude in a work outfit in a work truck, you'll be like, oh, he's a construction worker. If you see a dude in a limo and he's wearing a suit, you'll think, okay, he a limo driver. Now, you see this type of dude who look like a dope boy in a dope boy car, you're going to think he sell dope. You know what I mean? That's how I see it.
That's outstanding. Go ahead,
The
Tom.
reason why I bring that up is because a lot of times when we said, hey, we know police profile, right? And when they say we're trained to profile, we're never trained to profile someone based on their race. You know what I'm saying? It comes down to what behaviors they're exhibiting. It might, like Jim said down there, it might come down to what they're wearing. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, truck driver wearing construction equipment or construction outfit, he's a construction worker, right? But I don't want you to think it's based on your race. It's going to be based on what your actions are and what that makes us believe may be up. That makes sense, right? I don't want you to think that, you know, when I say there's a difference between profiling and like racial profiling, which we're not trained to racially profile people. We're trained to just profile individuals based on their behavior.
That's outstanding. Which I was going to touch on that. But I do appreciate that. That's great. So and that's based off everyone, right? You guys profile people all the time. You may not know it, but you do. How many times you play basketball in a week? 6. Okay. You ever see somebody walk on court with some raggedy shoes? Have you ever said that they trash because of those shoes? Yeah. Okay, that's profiling, right? Because now you're taking someone who, you're just taking something of that person and putting them in a category without having any type of other information. Does that make sense? All right. So based off that, is it
Is it fair to say that for the most part, based off behaviors, we're pretty accurate? Or we're not that, what would you say, it's 50-50? 60-40?
I would be hesitant to put a prescription, a percentage on there because that's gonna come down to, you know, some officers get it right 20% of the time, some officers get it right 80% of the time. A lot of it comes down to how long you've been working, how many different cultures you've encountered, right? How many different people you've run into. All that's going to come into play in determining how successful you're going to be when profiling someone's behavior.
Their response is outstanding, right? Because you cannot be, based off what I just said, because there's some people out here with regular shoes who are outstanding hoopers, right? Am I correct? All right. So that response is amazing. It's appropriate. Just because an officer may have profiled you for whatever reason, like I said, sometimes it's nice cars and hood areas that we consider hood areas, right? Also, if you're in a nice area, you got a regular car, you're probably going to get stopped, right? I'm sorry. If you're around the person shot? Oh, so you had something to say before I
was just wondering, why aren't school shooters profiled?
Okay. So what's your question? Your question is, why aren't school shooters profiled?
Right, young white males.
Can you elaborate?
Okay, say for instance, the shooting like that happened with that Dylan Storm Roof inside that black church. Maybe if they had profiled him, maybe those people would still be alive.
So how would you like who would you like to profile that person first?
Who, you said who?
Yes, sir.
Young white males.
No. Who do you want to profile them? Does it make sense? The police officer.
Yeah.
And then how will we profile that individual?
Okay. Well, you see a withdrawn dude, or he's rolling with this certain type of sect of people, usually they start to fit the description of a school shooter. Come through, long black trench coat on, you know, things like that.
Things of those
But
sorts.
in the fact that we don't profile people like that, they go in and blow 50 people away.
Yeah. So and you guys can jump in. From my experience, a little of that would have to touch on racially profiling someone, which is something that we don't do. Because people have said all the time, which is a crazy joke. Have you guys ever heard this, that all the serial killers and active shooters are always white males, right?
False.
That's false. But that's what you guys hear, right? The crazy guys who shoot up movie theaters, schools, churches are always white males, right? Between the ages of 17 and 25 or something like that. So I would say as a police officer, it's very hard because there's different levels in what we profile. So like what Officer Saunders said, we profile behavior. So a dress code is not something that we necessarily would profile. For instance, this brother here has on a vest, a bulletproof vest, right?
Ain't got no place in it.
No plates. But what it looks like a bulletproof vest, right? So what he said about plates, this is a carrier. Underneath will have the plate to block the bullet, right? And those plates are separated, and this is what we use to carry. Do you have one? All right. So his plates will be hard based off the tap. I would assume they're rifle plates. Okay, it's pretty hard tap. So when I see individuals with that on, my mindset is what? That maybe they have a gun, because you don't really carry a bulletproof vest unless you're carrying a weapon, right? I got a bulletproof vest in my car, both my cars. I carry a gun all the time. Do you guys happen to be carrying a weapon?
Not right now, but brothers carry in the school.
So, but
legally, they carry legally.
In the school.
We
So
make sure they do.
outside of the school, I'm assuming, did you guys leave it in your cars?
No, we didn't even bring it because we coming here.
Okay.
For the kids.
So, based off, normally they carry, right? So my assumption of profiling would be accurate, that these individuals will probably have on a weapon if I see them out in public with this attire on, right? But as a police officer, I can't assume that. I can't just jump out of the car and say, pull my gun on him because he has a vest on, unless I actually see a gun or see some type of threat. Because of this, I can't justify in court that this is a threat to me. What I can justify is if I see a gun on his hip and he has mean to reach for it. Does it make sense? And I appreciate you guys not bringing, because you're not supposed to have guns on school property, but does that make sense though? Does that kind of, because, so we can easily profile that individual, but unless we can deem them a threat, the profile will be inaccurate, right? Because you want us to profile and say this person's going to shoot up the place. I can't reasonably say unless I see a weapon or anything of that sort. Go ahead.
So, kind of right around the time we got we did our initiative with the body worn cameras. First run I ever got one was a caller. About 3-4 people called in. Black male, no shirt on, saggy pants, carrying a handgun with extended mag. Thinks he's probably going to shoot up the gas station and rob it. That's what I got. Yeah.
Before you continue, I want you guys to pay attention to this. How often do you hear a suspect as a black male wearing dark clothing?
All the time. That's probably, no joke, probably 90%.
Now, have you ever ran into a situation, because I can say I have, listen up fellas, where you've gotten the report of a black male in dark clothing, but it's not a black male?
Yes.
Okay. And that's happened pretty often, right?
Yes.
Okay. I want to throw that out there because a lot of people don't, go ahead, sir. No, it's just, some people, if they say they have a weapon, sometimes people do use that to make me get there. That's an outstanding question. A lot of times, people are so caught up in the moment that they really don't pay attention to who they're describing. Because I can see you running past me, and I can see a black male, red shirt, blue pants on, right? Or blue shorts. If I call in, let's say I'm a person who without experience of making sure I understand details, and I say, okay, there's a black guy running, he had on a blue shirt with red pants. Because my mind, only thing my mind sees is red and blue. Does that make sense? Sometimes people jumble up information in their mind because they're not experienced with taking down details like that. Right. But I would say, because a lot of brothers, including myself, I've always said that police harass African American males for no reason. But me as a police officer, I can tell you guaranteed that African American males, our age group, our descriptions are used more than any other description in this world. You can look on the FBI website and look at the highest, most used suspect description. It's an African American male between the ages of 17 and 24 wearing dark clothing. That is the highest, most used suspect description. Go ahead, sir.
You know, now you got people dressing up with black masks. Like, that's black skin.
Yes.
I don't know if you ever seen that on Facebook.
I've seen it before, and there's things like that really throws off the public, because the mindset is that African Americans are the ones who commit crimes all the time, right? Dre, if you want to stand over to the side, go ahead, finish your story.
So it's right there at, you guys know what 380 Meadows is? 380 Oxford, y'all familiar with that area? At all?
A few of them.
Yeah, a few
You
of
should
them,
be familiar with that, right?
38 Meadows, you know what that's at?
So if you stay off your phone, you pay attention.
You know what 38 Meadows is? So okay, we get the call. As me and my beat partner are arriving, we see the male. He does have a gun on him. Has a very long extended clip. So all he's doing is walking down the street. That's it. He's minding his own business. Now, as a police officer, I still got to go and investigate. I got called there for a call. So I can think I approached him. Think I came out with my gun out. Think I came out scared. You know what I did? I said, excuse me, sir, we got a call. You know, people see you carrying your gun. I'm glad you exercised your Second Amendment right. You know, do you have a gun license on you? Right then and there, he could have kept walking. He doesn't have to tell me that information. He said, thank you, officer. Thank you for being nice to me. That's literally what he said. He showed me his gun. I mean, his carry license. Like, cool. Ran it. Everything came back confirmed. I looked at his gun. I said, man, that's a nice gun. He said, thank you. Off he went.
Do you guys have any questions about that? Go ahead. Yo, calm down. I don't want to have to separate you.
Basically telling you that they got a license to carry.
Okay.
Might be showing it on the
So your question is, if someone has a gun just on their hip,
like if somebody openly got their gun on their hip, you could see it like that. You would assume that they got their license. Is that like profiling too?
In certain ways, it would be profiling. Assume so. Profile is all about the assumption that someone's going to do something based off their behavior, based off something that you see. So it's how you articulate or how you read, your mind reads the information. So yes, to a certain extent, yes, that is profiling. And then you said if they have a gun, is it just
like openly on their head? Like, would you assume that they got their license?
okay? Well, I tell you what. Would you assume?
Well, the thing is, like, I mean, it's gonna sound cliche, right? But like, we're talking like you never assume, right? Like you never assume. You just treat like. So what you're talking about would be more so of a like profile is also like a threat assessment, right? Same scenario, right? The guy's walking down the street, the gun's sitting out like this, right? Like how mine is, fully exposed, you can see it, right? I look at him, I'm like, okay, he has a firearm on him, I'm aware of that. Now, same scenario, he's walking down the street, he's got a t-shirt on, he's pulling his t-shirt down over the gun as he's walking, right? He's clutching onto it as he's walking. He's trying to like, I'm coming up, he's turning his body so as to not let me see the firearm, right? So I can see it, it's out there, but it's other stuff around the idea that he has a firearm that's gonna give me, it's gonna help me with my threat analysis. That makes sense? You know what I'm saying? So it comes down to, it's not just the presence of a firearm, because we know that in the state of Indiana, if you have a firearm permit, you're able to legally carry, you know, open if you want to, concealed if you want to. So the gun in and of itself is not going to make me feel one way or another. It's just something that I have to be aware of because of my job. That makes sense?
Some of you guys, if you guys see a guy walking down the street with a gun just on his hip, showing to everyone around, right? And he's not trying to hide it. Do you guys believe that he may have a permit to carry? You say no. No. Anyone?
I say yes.
You say yes.
Like, 'cause most people, if they don't got a permit, they will like they got a 360 view and they say the most time.
Exactly. So I would say I agree with you. I believe I think the same way. A part of me does, right? Also, another part of me thinks the way that Officer Saunders thinks, that if someone is not supposed to have something, they're going to try to conceal it and hide it, right? But if they're supposed to have it, they're going to be, bless you, they're going to be comfortable with it, having it out, right? So you're not by yourself in that. I believe the same thing, or I think the same way in that mindset, right? Anybody else? Yes? No? No? T, yes or no? Pay attention, because we've already had conversations, right? About what guns, right? What do you guys think?
Me, if I see a guy who's just walking around with a gun or walking down the street with a gun, I'm gonna stay a little away from him. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to get shot. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna assume I ain't gonna assume nothing really, because I don't know if he got it or not. I ain't about to find out. But if he's just walking around with it, you know, I ain't about to be all like, you know, hey, how's it going? Or being close to him. I'm a peep that he got it, and I'm gonna keep my distance, you know what I'm saying, to make sure I stay out of harm's way and watch him. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm gonna do if I see somebody just walking around with a gun. You know what I mean?
So I'm gonna tell you guys a story. I was in Kroger's on 10th and Shalem, right? Because I live over there. Actually, no. I was at the Walmart on Midhofer and Washington Street, walking through, right? There's a guy, and he had a Beretta, customized, green Beretta. It had snake skin on it. It was cold. And it had a gold trimming. So I don't know if it's real gold or if it's fake gold. I had just moved here. So I was a little confused because I'm from Chicago. Our gun laws are a little bit different. We can't have a gun out in public, and it's concealed carry with license. It's very hard to get those licenses. I had a license before I moved here, and it's pain to get it, right? It's a lot of stuff. So I'm walking through Walmart with my wife, and my wife looks at me, and she goes, and at this time when I first moved here, immediately I got a firearms permit. Because I was doing an academy and it was cheap. It's a lifetime permit for like $170. And I had a pistol on me. And I always have mine concealed. Sometimes it may show based off where I wear, what have you. So he's in Walmart, right? This cool gun on the side of the hip sticking out. Shirt, super long shirt. On one side it goes halfway through his thigh. The other side, he has an outside carrier. He has it tucked in, right? Now, if you have an outside carrier, you're not going to try to cover it up. It makes no sense, right? Tactically, it makes no sense to us. It makes no sense to maybe these gentlemen because I'm assuming they go to the range and they have firearms training. So outside, I'm sorry, what's
I said that's what it's for, like outside
Outside. So inside carry, you want to cover it up, right? And I'm looking at this guy, and people are looking at him. Not just me and my wife, but other people in the store. And they're when they see him, they're looking at him, and he's a black male. Really scruffy beard. He had his family with him. His family looked very put together. He just looked like he's a hardworking man. I would say that, right? His fingernails were kind of dirty, kind of long, but his clothes he had on were clean. So just to describe that to him.
You scared them like that?
Huh?
You like paying attention to all that?
Sir, yes, that's what I do. I get paid to observe. That's one of the main things that we get paid for, to make sure we notice things. So with that being said, people walk past him and they wouldn't even go down the same lane as him, the same aisle as him. And at this time, he's in the pizza, the frozen food. He's right on the other side of where the ice cream was. So me and my wife were on the ice cream. We had already saw him. In my mind, I'm like, man, that's a cool gun. That gun is probably expensive, right? It probably cost him like $1,200 for that gun, right? So we're walking. He comes on the other side. This little old lady in the white, she looks at him, she sees his gun, and she's like, oh dear. And she walks away with her cart, right? Just like that. I kid you not. Look, oh dear. So with that situation, in my mind, what is everyone doing? Everyone's what? Profiling, right? Some people are profiling because he has a gun and they feel that it's active shooters around this time. And we had just had an incident where the Batman movie came out, it was their anniversary. There's another incident where there's an active shooter, right? So when you see a person with a gun in public in Walmart, and also Walmart has had active shooters over the last 2 or 3 years consistently, where people are not anymore. They just changed the policy. So when people are seeing him, they're reacting a lot differently. Some people are not paying him any mind. Some people are doing the same thing I did. When I saw him, I'm like, oh, that's cool, and I kept going about my business, right? But that's because I had the same mindset that if he has a gun on his hip and everyone can see it, and he's put enough money into that gun, he has to have a permit. He has to be legit, right? That's my mindset because of the gun, the way he's carrying it, the comfortability, and I'm sorry.
I said, comfortability.
The comfort level. All right, great. The comfort level and him just walking around, right? So that's my mindset, that he's fine. My wife, on the other hand, is like, oh dear, he doesn't look like a cop because he doesn't have a clean shave, right? He has a scruffy beard, his fingernails is kind of long, kind of dirty, what have you. Dre, stand over here. So that's my wife's mindset. She's a little nervous and concerned. A lot of other people the same way. Some people are the same way as me. They see it, they couldn't about their business, right? So when you guys see that, we've heard two different things where one individual said, I'm gonna stay away from him because I don't want to get shot. I don't want him to accidentally pull out his gun and try to show it off and be cool and accidentally shoot someone. We have other individuals that says, I'm gonna watch him and watch his behavior and I'm gonna see what he does. I'm gonna make sure that when I see him in the aisle, I keep an eye on him. Partially, I didn't care that he had a gun. In my mind, I want him to have his gun out. That's fine, the guns. So if somebody comes in there shooting, they're going to shoot him first. They give me enough time for my gun to put him down. So that's my mindset. And you guys, every officer here will tell you, I prefer to people, when I go into places, I would prefer for you to have your gun out and me to have mine concealed. Because if they get robbed or a person, active shooter comes in, they're going to shoot the first person who's a threat to them. Right? That's like when you go to a new school. You don't care about the guys that's sitting over there hitting their asthma pump with glasses, do you? Or do you care about the big dude who, when he says stuff, everyone around him listens? That's the guy you care about, right? Because in your mind, you've already processed and made an assumption that he's the biggest threat, right? Does that make sense? So that's the same logic I have when I walk into a place. I look around and I look at people. I look at people if they have calluses on their thumbs. Because calluses on the thumbs tells me a few different things, right? It tells me that maybe they're an active drug user and they use a light, and that's why they have a callus. Or it may tell me that they work as
Like, what's a callus?
a callus is a access of skin.
Like this right here.
Forms up.
These right here.
So that callus is from him, I'm assuming, working out.
Yeah, I used to work at the YMCA, so I'd be in the gym used to be in the gym a lot.
So, but how did I make that assumption, right? Because over time and history and experience, I've come to a realization that I've had calluses on my hands there, and it was when I was actively hitting the gym and touching those barbells without gloves on. Also, when I see people work out, they have callus on those hands. But when I see people with thumbs as a police officer, I know for sure that most likely you only got really an option of about 3 different things. They actively work with their hands as a mechanic, but the rest of their hands will be dirty with oil and grease. And they might have a few other calluses on their hand, but they have a callus solely on their thumb, and it's a little yellow. They probably use it to do drugs, and they have that light that's constantly active in their calluses because they try to burn that drug, and it's in their thumb. Does that make sense? But all those are based off history and experience that I've had, right? So a lot of you guys may see these things and not recognize it, but when I see people, even myself, I've caught myself, and I hate that I did this before. And I'll tell you guys another story real quick. I had a guy who was homeless. I always see him on the corner. My wife always gives him money. So I gave him money one day. He shook my hand because my wife is very nice. She's 10 times nicer than I am. Like, I'm nice to you guys because I like you guys and I want you guys to be successful in life. Well, to a lot of other people, you can thank these guys, I'm not that nice, right? Well, I am pretty nice. I'm a hit or miss. You can catch me on a good day, right? So I gave this guy money, and he shook my hand, and he had a callus. And he had a callus on the area that I just talked to you guys about. And when I shook his hand, and anytime someone shakes my hand, I try to shake it in a way that I can see their hands, right? I don't know why I do it, but I do it. So I shake it in a way that I see the top of their hands and hopefully try to see their fingernails and things like that. So I'm very like antsy about long nails. These nails are too long and I feel like I need to cut them. So I see that, right? Hands are pretty clean, little scruff underneath his hand, but he has a huge callus on his thumb right here on the tip. So in my mind, what he does drugs. Right. So now I'm like, I just gave the guy who's gonna do drugs my money. Now I'm upset. But do I know he do drugs? Nope. Could he have hurt himself and burnt his finger touching something extremely hot and it formed like some type of overgrowth or callus? Is a possibility. Could he have on the side worked in a position where he asked extra money and moved trash cans around, or work in some type of restaurant or for some type of business where he's using his hands and he's gained a callus because of that, constantly grabbing something? Is that a possibility? So do you believe that my assumption and me profiling him is accurate or correct? You're saying yes. But I just told you a couple of different things that he possibly could be doing that it could be wrong. So you never know, right? So based off police officers, go ahead. And afterwards we're gonna wrap it up.
So we got to run for secure residence. Little old lady called in, said she thought somebody was outside of a residence. So, I get there, check out the residence, kind of on high alert, dark outside. She said she heard somebody knocking out a window. So none's out there, go patrol plane, tell the lady to come out. So now I'm bringing myself down a little bit. Not amped up, just my security level, bringing it down a little bit. One thing as police officers that we taught is to see people's hands. We like to control people's hands. If we can see your hands, to us, we stay alive. Little old lady, she's coming out, she has her hands in her robe. Very frail old lady, probably like 85, 56 years old. Comes out to talk to me, very nice and sweet, so I'm letting my guard down. Shouldn't have done it. She comes out, she's like, I was scared, but I had this on me, so if he came in the house, I could have done something to him. Right then and there, without even her knowing, she pointed that gun at my face. And because I let my security level drop, I put myself in a position that I didn't need to be. So, we talk about profiling, you gotta be careful. Because say if her finger would have slipped, and no, it wouldn't have been on purpose. This little old lady trying to show me a little pea shooter, a little revolver, that could have been it for me. Just like that.
So I'm gonna run through, before we end, we're gonna end it. But I wanna run through ethics and, not ethics, but appropriate manners when you're engaging with a police officer, right? So, a lot of you guys already had encounters with police officers. I have encounters with police officers in uniforms and out of uniforms all the time. Some of them are my friends, some of them I really don't know, but they work for the same department that I do. But a lot of you guys see me all the time. I never really dress like a cop, right? This is what I wear. I wear this here and I wear this outside. So when you run into a police officer, what's the first thing that pops into your head? That you're in trouble. Is that always true? All right, Dre. Go get your stuff. So, all right. So that you're in trouble. Is that always true? Okay. So if a police officer approach you, what should you say? What'd you do wrong? Okay. I would tell you not to say that. I would tell you if a police officer approach you and he says, hey, or he says, hey, come here. The first thing is like, hey, how's it going? You don't necessarily have to serve him. It would be good though if you say, how's it going, sir? Because he's an adult. Or how you doing, ma'am?
And if I could, I've also heard that the cops is real, they look for suspicious behavior. So when they pull up or they drive up, they try to see if you're doing something real suspicious out of nowhere, then they make them look at you more. You understand? That's why you can't be, a criminal, because they're gonna look at you more when you all suspicious and nervous. You know what I'm saying?
So with that being said, running, right? Or asking what did I do?
Right.
That makes you look very suspicious. Because if I walk into a room and first thing I call your name, like I've called Davion's name before, and what did you say, Davion? What'd I do? And there's nothing at all. I actually wanted to give him a compliment on something. Right. But now, in my mind, what did you do?
Right.
Right? And that's with anybody. That's not just police officers. That's with anybody. So when you talk to a police officer, or when you interact with them, be simple.
Right.
How's it going? He's going to tell you what he wants. Some police officers just want to stop and say hi to you. I cannot tell you how many times that I've been working, I got out of my car, and now when I worked in the 50s at 71st and Michigan up there, or 71st and Township, and I got out my car to say hi to some brothers standing outside. Maybe they were doing drugs or selling drugs. I don't care. Right. I went there to say hello to them. What do you think they did? Some of them ran. They walked into the house. They started going around corners. Maybe I don't care. But if I'm approaching you, I just want to say hi to you. And if you didn't do anything wrong, there's no reason for you to run. Right? So you have a conversation. They're going to tell you something. They're going to tell you why they stopped you or why they want to speak to you. And then if you didn't do anything, let's say you did something, let's say you didn't do anything wrong, right? You're walking down the street. Do you have to show them your ID?
No, that's wrong.
No? Why do you say that? You don't know. So unless you do anything that you can be cited for, which is like a ticket for, hey, yo, pay attention, because this can be the difference between you with handcuffs on going to juvie and you actually sitting in front of a judge and making sure that you can articulate what happened properly, right? Because every last one of you guys is going to run into a police officer in your life. I've run into several police officers before I was a cop and after I was a cop, and I can tell you from sure that every encounter was not a positive one.
And if I could, in the Israelite school, our slogan is no cowards. You know what I mean? We black revolution people, building up our people, but our slogan is no cowards. You should not do crime, so you had no reason to be scared of no cop. You shouldn't be scared. You know what I mean? That's why you don't do crimes, so you don't be scared. So you can say, well, sure, I ain't did nothing. So if he arrests me on something, then, you know what I mean, that's of the Lord or something. Right. But I ain't do nothing. But the point is not to be scared. You can't be scared. You know what I mean? Because you're scared, you're going to do stuff that scaredy people do. You know what I mean? You can't be a coward, you know what I mean?
So, and one of those things is running. If you get out of if I get out of the car and I say, hey, how's it going? And you just take off running, right? You may get arrested for that. You may not. It depends on the officer. Technically, they can't really, right? Because there's no reasonable suspension.
If I could, you might get shot.
Down the street.
Unless you're jaywalking.
Yeah, unless you're jaywalking. So if you commit something where you can get a ticket from, so if the officer asks you to identify yourself, right? As you, technically, you need a parent there. You need a guardian there. For those of you who signed up in my program, if your parent doesn't pick up the phone on the first call, I am your guardian. So you can call me. You have my number. I will come out. Does that make sense? Or I will send another officer in my place if I cannot make it, and they will represent you.
In a minute.
Does that make sense? Because we've had boys in this program who's called us at 3 o'clock in the morning where Officer Keys couldn't make it out and I went out. And it wasn't over here. I know everybody on North. It was on Southeast. I knew no one. That's a different district. But I still represented him, even though I'm a police officer. And I made sure that he was treated fairly.
Right.
That's why I'm here for, right? So unless he's going to write you a ticket for something, you really don't have to identify yourself. Now, if you want things to go smoothly, where you didn't do anything wrong, because he may be looking for someone who just burglarized the house. He may be looking for someone who just ran from the police, and we signed a perimeter.
Say if like your shit, she's like the east side, right? And like if you're a cop,
Say it again.
So say if like the shape is the east side, like
So, okay, if you work on the east side, you should know the north
you the south.
of this, the east side, or everywhere?
Everywhere.
I don't know everywhere. I'm not from here. So if it's not north, which is like 96th Street from Michigan all the way over to Lawrence, down or downtown or Broad Ripple, I don't really know. If I go on the west side, I can't tell you anything about the west side. My wife works over there. I GPS every day how to get, or whenever I go to her job, I GPS it because I don't know anything about it. I'm not from there.
Yeah, you don't necessarily need to know about heart, you just need to know how to get to the location.
Roughly.
Like, I don't know every side of town, but if you tell me, hey, I need to go here, it's expected that I know how to, I can figure out how to do it.
GPS, we have GPS. All right, so if he's gonna write you a ticket, you need to identify yourself. If he gives you a reason for, and you need to know what those laws are. So there's city citations, there's street citations. If you spit on the ground or the sidewalk, it's a ticketable offense. He can identify you. Does that make sense? Yes. If you spit on the sidewalk, it's a ticketable offense, and he can identify you. That means you're required to give up your identification. Does that make sense?
Or how much money?
It's not, I don't know. I never wrote anybody a ticket, but I
So
can
you
tell
telling me you can walk past, not gonna spit on it, like give me your ID?
Yes.
Good. When I was your age, I got arrested by a cop for spitting on the ground because I guess he seen it as it was disrespectful. This when I was in like Memphis. I was like 16. I thought they was gonna kill me like Emmett Till or something.
So
I just get to juvie.
when it comes to those type of things, this is why we do these things. This is why I'm giving you the opportunity to hang out with police officers. This is why I'm a police officer. And I can tell you for sure if you have a question about a law, and that's what we talk about. So you know the law. So instead of arguing with the police officer saying, well, I'm not giving you my license when you just spit on the ground, guess what? You may go to jail for that.
Right.
For refusal to identify when he has a reason to do that. Now let's say you pull a T and you rob a store. You committed a robbery or a burglary or a shoplifter, a theft. Sorry. I haven't been that long off the street, right? I'm just talking. So let's say you committed a theft, a shoplifting, right? And the police stops you and they get you in handcuffs. Do you have to identify yourself?
No.
Why? Because it's not a ticketable offense, right? You committed the law, right? All right, so is it based off the Fifth Amendment where you can plead the Fifth to not self-incriminate yourself? Does that make sense? So identifying yourself is self-incriminating. When you've committed a crime, you guys really need to understand the difference. So if you've stolen from a store and you ran from a police officer, you have shoplifting and you have resisting by flight. Felony and depending on the shoplifter is probably a misdemeanor. If you get arrested, you technically don't have to identify yourself. It's up to that police officer to identify you. Now, you can easily identify yourself to make the process quicker. Does that make sense?
Right.
You guys understand that, right?
Right.
All right, we're going to end it there. And then over the next few weeks, we're going to talk more about law and get you guys educated on what laws really apply to you guys and what laws don't. Let's throw this up away.